Since becoming heavily involved in and focusing my practice on obstructive sleep apnea, I have taken on a significant interest in ongoing research. And the reason for this is that Inspire therapy, which involves implanting a small nerve stimulator that stimulates the tongue to move forward during sleep, is a relatively new form of treatment. It was approved by the FDA in 2014, but has really only entered mainstream clinical practice in the last couple of years. And as any other new therapy would be, there are a lot of unanswered questions about this therapy. Some of these questions occurred to me as I was seeing these patients, and when you have a question, there's only one solution to that in medicine, which is conducting research. I'm involved in actually 3 areas of research with Inspire, the first of which occurred because I was one of 4 surgeons in the United States, and I believe in the world, to begin performing the procedure through 2 incisions rather than 3. So working with 3 other surgeons from 3 universities in the United States, we developed a new technique or a modification of the technique to do this. We described the technique and published that just recently in a journal. Secondly, as a follow-up to that, we are collecting data on patients who have had this surgery performed with the 2 techniques to ensure for ourselves, as well as the FDA and the public, that there is as good or better outcomes with the 2-incision approach versus the 3-incision approach. So that's an ongoing study. Patients, to qualify for Inspire, cannot have a complete side-to-side closure of the airway at the very highest level of the throat. And so in evaluating patients for the Inspire procedure, I began thinking about, could we determine in the office, using a simple measurement, a way of predicting who would be a candidate for this Inspire procedure so that I could advise patients accordingly. As I thought about that problem, I also thought that looking at the width of the throat, in the back of the throat, and measuring that width using a tool may also predict which patients do well with Inspire, because not every patient is successful, even those who are candidates for Inspire. So I am now performing a study looking at the width of the throat measured with a simple tool in the office and collecting data to determine if I can answer those questions. That's an ongoing study. Third, I am now involved in a study that we're in the development stages of putting together, where we're looking to use software, and specifically artificial intelligence software, to look at various clinical features that we can find in patients' records in a large health system here in Scottsdale, to identify patients who may have significant sleep apnea but who are not currently diagnosed and therefore not treated. And the study design will identify these patients, contact them, and then recommend that they undergo sleep evaluation to determine if they have sleep apnea. This is a very exciting study because we know with obstructive sleep apnea, the overwhelming majority of patients with obstructive sleep apnea, probably as much as 80% or more, are never diagnosed and therefore suffer the complications of sleep apnea. And with this study, we're hoping to provide an efficient and inexpensive way to screen large numbers of patients, looking at a whole number of clinical variables to identify these at-risk patients, get them diagnosed, and then on to treatment.